In this video, I'm going to be analyzing my own stats for my YouTube channel by scraping data using web APIs in Python. So first off, you might be wondering, what even are APIs? API stands for Application Program Interface. In simple terms, think of an API as like a bridge between two applications, the client and the server. In this case, you're the client and the server is whatever service you're using, which in this case is YouTube. So the API is going to let the client, which is me, send requests to the server, which is YouTube, through the API, and then the server is going to process my request and send a response back to me through the API. Alright, so here's the documentation for the YouTube API, and when you're dealing with web APIs, it's really important to know how to read the documentation. So in this video, I'm going to be using the search part over here, search. This is going to give you the video ID and the titles, and I'm also going to be using the videos area. This is gonna give you the views and the likes for each video. So first I'm gonna deal with search in the first half of the video, and then the second half of the video I'm gonna deal with the videos part. So I'm gonna just go to overview, and basically each section of this documentation, it gives you like a JSON structure, and so this is what is gonna be returned when I call, let me scroll down a bit, when I go to over here, when I paste in this URL with my API key, which I'm going to show you later, then it's going to return this representation over here. And this is the data that we want, and we're going to have to scrape this data using the URL over here. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the next part. Okay, so now I'm in the Jupyter notebook, and I kind of split this video into different sections. So first we're gonna worry about importing the libraries, and there's only two libraries to import. It's gonna be import requests and then import pandas as PD, and we're gonna use requests to call the URL, and then we're gonna use pandas to create the data frame. So I'm gonna run that, and then I'm gonna go here, and next step is to get the API key and the channel ID. So the API key is actually gonna be unique to every person. So I found a website over here. I'll paste it in the description below. It basically tells you how to get the API key for the YouTube, and it's actually really straightforward to do. So I'm not gonna go over it because it's kind of a waste of time in my opinion. So I'm just gonna, all you have to do is go to this Google Developers Console, and then you're gonna see a button that says generate key, and you just copy that and then you paste it in the Python program. And I'm actually gonna make this blurred out because it's for privacy reasons, and it's not safe to share your API key to other people. So I'm gonna paste that, but it's gonna be blurred out. Okay, now I'm gonna get the channel ID, which is basically unique to every YouTube channel. And so to do that, I have to go to YouTube, and then go to settings over here, and then go to advanced settings, and then this is my channel ID over here. I'm not gonna blur this part out because it's alright if other people see this one. So I'm gonna do copy and then paste that into a string and then run that. And now I'm gonna build up the search URL. So I'm gonna create a new cell and then go to the documentation. I'm gonna paste in this URL, and then one sec, and then I'm gonna add a few more parameters. So first thing you need to do is you need to add the API key, because that's what you're using to call this URL. It basically allows you to fetch the data from the YouTube analytics. So I'm gonna say key is equal to, key with a question mark before it is equal to, and then put an API key, and then we can add some more parameters. So if I go here, it says that this one is required, but then everything else is optional. So I'm gonna say this, it said it was part, that's the required parameter. I'm gonna set that equal to snippet, because that's what it's telling me to do. So I'll say ampersand parse equal to snippet, and then I'm also gonna add more if I go here and then scroll down, there's one where you could filter by the most recent videos. If I do Control F and then do, what was it, date or something, and then let me try to find that one. Okay, so I found it. It was over here, and it's the order parameter. So I'm gonna say go here, and then I'm gonna say order is equal to date, and then what's it telling me to do? It says resources are sorted in reverse chronological order. So that's what I want, because that means it's gonna get the newest videos first, and then the older ones all the way in the bottom. So that's good. And then I'm also gonna add another one called max results. This one over here, I'm gonna say that's equal to 1,000. Even though I don't have 1,000 videos, I'm just gonna put a really high number just to make sure that I'm getting everything. And then I'm also gonna add the channel ID, which is over here. This is optional, but I'm still gonna put it in to make it more specific. So, and channel ID, or if I go back, channel ID is equal to, and then plus, and you use this variable that I created before. And then now I'm gonna create a basic request call. I'm gonna say that the search response is equal to requests, and notice how we're using this library now, request.get, and then we're gonna pass in the URL, which is over here, search URL, and then I'm gonna return the JSON format of it. And then I'm gonna say search response, just see what it looks like. And so this basically gives me the structure that I was looking for over here. If I go to the overview and the documentation, it basically gives me this format, the JSON format, inside the Python program. And so it gives me the kind, and the most important part is the title of the video, which is 3 things I wish I knew before I learned how to code, which was my most recent video. If you haven't seen it, then I encourage you to go check that out. But anyways, there's also the channel, not the channel ID. If I scroll down a bit, or here, the ID is, this is gonna be important for us later, because we're gonna use this to create a data frame in the very end. All right, now I'm gonna create a simple for loop that's gonna loop through each of the videos in this whole dictionary, and it's gonna print out the ID and the title. And so what I'm gonna do to do that is I'm gonna create a new cell, and I'm gonna say, just to take a look at what this dictionary looks like, I'm gonna do search response items. I'm passing this inside single brackets because remember, this is a dictionary, and the key name is called items. And remember, in Python, to return the values in a dictionary, you have to use the square brackets and then pass in the name of the key. And so this is going to return all of this information. So this is going to return a whole list, and I'm going to have to do two sets of square brackets because there's a dictionary and a dictionary. So in this case, let's just say I want to get the video ID. So you can see that this is a whole list, and the video ID is inside over here. But then you can see that the whole dictionary, the outer dictionary that the ID is in, is the first element of the whole list, if that makes any sense. I know it's getting confusing with all like the elements being nested inside each other, but try to follow with me here. So I'm going to say 0 because the 0th index is going to return the first element of this really big list, which is over here. And so I'm going to also pass in the ID again, because the part that you see that I highlighted, it's going to return this part over here, the first dictionary. And then inside that first dictionary, I want to get the key called ID. And then that is going to return, if I run that, that's going to return another dictionary. And so inside this inner dictionary, I need to call again the key name, which is video ID. I don't need this part, so I'm just going to call that part, say video ID. I'm going to run that. And so that gives me the ID for the first video, because remember that I returned only the first element of the whole list, and the first element refers to the first video, the most recent video that I made, if that makes any sense. So anyways, now that you kind of understand what we're going to have to do for the for loop, we're going to have to dig deeper and deeper inside the dictionary until we get to the part that we want. So I'm going to create a new cell. I'm going to say for response in search response. And then I'm going to say that the video ID is equal to response and then ID and then video ID. And let me just print that out just to make sure I'm doing this right. And it says string indices must be integers, not string. Okay, so I realized that the error is, it says that the indices has to be integers, but the reason I got the error is because I'm actually not looping through the right part. I have to loop through search response items, which is this part, this list that you see over here, because in that case I don't need to use the integers as the indexes. So I'm gonna loop through that, and then if I just print response just to show you what I mean, it basically returns each dictionary over inside this. So over here, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Over here is the search response, the whole JSON object, and this is the items, and inside the items it returns the whole list. But in this for loop over here, we're looping over this list here, and so that is giving us, each response basically has everything like the IDs and the titles and the kind, e tag, whatever. So now I can say, I can easily get the video ID and the video title by just saying video ID is equal to the response, and then in square brackets it's the ID, and then inside the ID part it's the video ID. So it's gonna be video ID, and then the video title is gonna be equal to response, and then response title, or not title, it's title is actually part of another inner dictionary. The outer dictionary is the snippet, so I'm gonna say snippet, and then inside that snippet dictionary it's the title. So I'm gonna print out video ID and the video title. So now it gives us all the IDs and the titles associated with the ID. Okay, now that I got the video IDs and the titles, I'm gonna build up another URL from the documentation to get the number of views and number of likes for each video that I made. So now I'm gonna go to the documentation and then go to where the video URL is. So I'm gonna go here and then paste that, and then I'm gonna say video URL is equal to, paste that URL, and I'm gonna also add in question mark key is equal to my API key, and then channel ID is equal to channel ID. And then this time, instead of saying the part is equal to snippet, if I go to this part, I can say I'm gonna set it equal to statistics, because if I go to the structure, I can see that if I go down to statistics over here, I can see that the statistics has the data that I want, which is the views and the likes. So I'm gonna say part is equal to statistics. Another thing that the video URL takes in is the ID, which is something that we didn't use for the search URL. So I'm gonna go back, and then I'm gonna say and ID is equal to, and then say first video ID. And I realized that I forgot to put the ampersand for between here, so I'll go do that. And then I'm gonna actually create a cell above this cell called first video ID, because I'm gonna show you how to get the ID of the first video and then use that for the video URL. So for the first video ID, it's gonna be, we're gonna use the search response from up here. So it's gonna be search response, and then I'm just gonna paste this part in, and then if I run that, it's gonna give me the ID for my most recent video. And then I'm gonna run this part now, and then I'm gonna say video responses is equal to request.get, and then pass in the URL, and then return a JSON object. Then I'm gonna run that, and it's basically gonna give me the ID, which is what I used, and then also the statistics, which is the views and the likes. And so this is looking pretty good now, but the problem is that we only got the number of views and likes for my most recent video, because I hard coded this part. I only used the first video ID. So this video URL is gonna give me the number of likes and number of views for each video, and the search URL that I made in the beginning, that's gonna give me the title of each video. And so the thing that both of these URLs have in common is the video ID. So that video ID is gonna be the connector for the data between both URLs, and it's gonna allow us to put both data into a single data frame. So I'm gonna create a for loop, and I'm actually gonna use the for loop that I used in the beginning over here. I'm gonna copy that and then paste that down over here, and then I'm also gonna paste this part in over here, which basically creates the video URL. So basically we're gonna basically generate a new URL for the videos for each iteration in the for loop. So that means this part, instead of first video ID, I'm just gonna change it to the video ID over here. And then I'm also gonna say, I'm gonna be a bit more specific and say that if the video kind, if I scroll up to the search response, I want to make sure that I'm only getting YouTube videos and nothing else, because there could be other things that are getting returned besides videos. So I'm gonna go to where it says the kind over here, and so I want to make sure that the search response, the kind is the YouTube hashtag video, because that ensures that it's actually a YouTube video and nothing else. So I'm gonna go down, and then I'm gonna say if the response ID and then the kind is equal to, let me scroll up, if it's equal to YouTube, not search result, but YouTube video over here. If it's equal to that, then I'm gonna do all this stuff down here. So I'm gonna put this inside string. I'm also gonna say, I'm gonna make sure to add the colon and then indent this. I'm also gonna say, make a new variable called video stats. I'm gonna set that equal to this thing over here. And so now that I got the stats for each video, I could call the statistics. So I'm gonna say video, or the views is equal to video stats. And then if I look over here, I can use this to help me. This basically returns a dictionary, but I want to get the items, which is, I'm gonna say items, and then I want to get the statistics down here, and I also want to get the view count, which is over here. And so this is basically how you get the value if there's a bunch of dictionaries inside a dictionary. I'm basically calling each key name and drilling down deep and deep until I get to the value that I want. And so I'm gonna do the same thing for, oh wait, I accidentally run that. But I'm gonna do the same thing for the likes. So I'm gonna say likes is equal to video stats, items, statistics, and then like count. And so this is gonna return the number of likes in each video. And I also need to remember to specify the 0th index, because if I look at this items, it's a list and there's only one element in the list. And to get the only one element in the list, you have to specify the index number, which is 0. So I'm going to say 0. And now that's going to return the views and the likes. And then I'm going to also say, I'm going to create an empty list called video up here. And you'll see why in a sec. Then I'm going to say video.append. And then I'm going to append the video ID. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to paste this a couple more times. I'm going to append the video title, the number of views, and the number of likes. And so if I do that, that means this video list is going to contain the ID, the title, the views, and the likes for each individual video. And it's going to get reset every iteration because I specified at the top that's an empty list. So what I'm going to do is, before the for loop, I'm going to create another list called videos, and I'm going to make it an empty list. And the reason why I'm doing this is because it's going to make it a lot easier for me to add it to a pandas data frame if I have a list inside another list. So basically what's going to turn out is I'm going to say videos.append and then append the whole video list. So that means that the videos, the outer list, is going to contain multiple of these inner video lists, if that makes sense. I know it's getting really confusing with the outer list and the inner list, but basically just think of it as this. This is basically the list for each individual video, and each individual video list is going to be added to the outer list, which has all the videos. So it's basically, think of it as a 2D list. Hopefully I'm explaining that right and that made sense. That made sense to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below if you're stuck with anything, if you have any, if there's any confusions or questions, then please let me know in the comments, because I'm trying my best to teach this right now. So after you do that, then I'm gonna say, after you append each individual video to the outer list, then that's ready to be added to the data frame. So I'm gonna say df equals pd.dataframe, and then I'm gonna pass in the videos, and I'm gonna say the columns is equal to, I have to make sure that the order is right. So I'm gonna say the first column is the ID, because that's what we appended first. Second column is called the video title. Third column is called the views, and then finally it's the likes. And hopefully that worked. Let me run that. And it says that stats is not defined. That's because I had a dash instead of underscore. Hopefully that works. It's gonna take a while to run. And okay, that looks really good now, because I can see that it has each of my videos and the number is actually accurate. So that actually is looking pretty good. And yeah, that's basically all we need to do for this video. If you have any questions of what I did here, because I know I went by that really fast and that might have been confusing for some of you guys. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. Alright, that's all I got for the video. Hopefully you found it helpful, and if you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because it's going to help me a lot, and it's completely free for you, so you literally have nothing to lose from it. I also encourage you to check out this video over here. I don't know what's going to be about yet, but it's probably going to be something related to Python or Excel. So hopefully I see you there, and thank you guys so much for watching.